Welcome to the Man Up God's Way podcast, a show that dives into the real, raw, and relevant issues for men and their faith, life, and community. Now, your host, Jody Burkeen.
All right, guys, here we are again on another Man Up God's Way podcast. I'm so thankful that you guys are joining us. This is our first podcast of 2024. We took a few weeks off just to pray and plan and prepare for 2024 to give you the best podcast that we possibly can this upcoming year. 2023 was an amazing year. We had some great guests. We had Willie Robinson. We had Kirk Cameron. We had some amazing guests. And this week we're starting the year off. This year, we're starting the week off with another amazing guest who I'll bring in just a second. But I just want to update you guys on a few things that are going on at Man Up God's Way. This year, we've got some exciting things coming up. We've got our new Bible series going to be coming out. It's a video Bible series that will be available through our subscription system. Once we launch those, we're starting off with 12 doctrinal truths that you need to know. Then I'll break down my book, Man Up, Becoming a Godly Man in an Ungodly World. We're going to have a 16-week study on that. Learning how to have a personal relationship with Jesus, learning to be unified in one flesh with your wife, learning to be the father that you are meant and called to be, and then how you serve in church. When you have your household in order, God wants us to get involved in church, and then what you look like at work. Do you raise holy hands on Sunday and then raise holy hell on Monday? That's not the kind of man that God wants us to be. And then through accountability and discipleship. And we're going to take that through 16 weeks, and we're going to finish out the year really strong. We've also got a new podcast coming on. It's called Expectation Conversations. It's going to be a podcast on marriage and families, and my wife will be the host and I will be her co-host, so to speak. So we're really excited about that. We've got a new book coming out called Expectation Conversations. We're going to have some great guests there, and we're really going to dive into what a marriage looks like. I've been married for 33 years. I have 4 beautiful kids. I've been blessed by God through all of that, and we're going to talk a lot about that and then have guests on that have similar experiences or even different experiences through that. So again, extremely excited about what's going on and looking forward to 2024. So make sure if you get an opportunity, make sure you subscribe to our podcast. You can go to iTunes, Spotify, or Podomatic. You can find those also on iHeartRadio and a few other platforms, depending on what's out there. We've got just about all of them covered. You can also go to our YouTube page, our Facebook page. We have 950,000 followers on social media. So find one of the platforms that you enjoy the most, and we're probably there. So we look forward to you joining us. Also, if you're watching this live right now, would you please share it with all your folks? That way they can see it as well. It takes a lot of people to get the gospel out there, and we're asking you guys to help us out. Well, without further ado, I'm really excited about tonight. I've got my special guest tonight. Mike Coy is on with us. Mike, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm great, Jody. I really appreciate this opportunity to share the story with you.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to be here. I can't wait to dive into your story. I've been reading up on you. I got a lot of stuff from your publicist, and I'm really excited about hearing what you've gone through, what you've done in your life, and kind of how you're, going on today and what's going on as you continue just to move and groove, as I would call it. So, Mike, why don't you start off with your story? Why don't you just tell us, kind of your upbringing and kind of how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, well, my dad was a coach, and he was also a layman disciple of Christ minister. And so all I ever knew was the church. I mean, every Wednesday night and Sunday morning and Sunday night, we were at church. And my dad, when I think I was like 14, 15 years old, I was actually leading the choir and leading the music. And, it was just something that you didn't think about. You just, you just were a part of, and it's something that that you did. My dad was such a strong spiritual force in my life, and an example of to me of what a man should be, as far as a husband and a father and a teacher and a coach, and then as a pastor. And growing up, I was involved in sports. I had a very successful high school career, but the money was tight, and I needed a full scholarship to be able to play ball in college. And as a punter in football, I only got I think I got a meal ticket for that, and uh, and then as far as baseball, I think I got books, and so I had to work, and but I had a student deferment from Vietnam. My number was 82. They went to 80,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I had to take my physical and everything, but I was never called. But I was scared to death because I had that student deferment, and I ended up graduating in 3.5 years. I mean,
Wow.
I never quit going to school because I
Right.
didn't want to get called up. But I was playing baseball, and I started playing in this Texas Louisiana Professional League in Beaumont, Texas, right just outside of Houston, right on the Louisiana border where I was born and raised. And in 1977, 1978, I won the batting title. In '78, I was the MVP, and we won the league. And the Mets offered me a minor league contract, but it was $425 a month and $6 a day meal money on the road. And I
Wow.
had a pregnant wife at home, and I was making about $800-900 a month selling clothes at Dakota's clothing store. And there's no way I could have taken that kind of chance or taken that kind of cut and pay. But I
Right.
always did respect that scout, and I appreciated very much him seeing some talent in me that I possibly could have taken further. But I decided that I didn't want somebody to put a ceiling on my income. And so being a coach, I knew that was going to happen. So I went into the insurance business where I could kind of plan my own hours, make as much money as I could make. But more importantly, I could coach. I started out coaching Little League Baseball at Amelia, Little League, and then Senior League, and then Big League, and won 3 state championships. My 1986 team represented the USA South for the Big League World Series, and we ended up 3rd in the world.
Wow.
And just kind of put me on the map of being around some tremendous athletes. At the time, the San Diego Padres AA team actually was in Beaumont, and I got an invitation to be a minor league hitting instructor and a scout for the Padres. So I moved to San Diego for 2 years and had an absolute blast. Miss Croc sold the team to a bunch of investors in LA, and they cut about 75 or 80 jobs, and one of those was mine.
Oh,
So
good.
after being in San Diego for 2 years, there was no way I was going to move back to Beaumont or Houston. So I moved to Austin.
Okay.
And at the time, that was in the 1987, 1988, Austin was on the rise. And if you know anything about Austin now, it's absolutely exploded.
Right.
And was there for over 30 something years. And I had the opportunity to be the head baseball coach at St. Michael's Catholic Academy for 5 years. I coached summer ball, the American Legion ball at Austin Westlake High School, which is the home of Drew Brees and Nick Foles and the current backup quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, Sam Ellinger, who was at University of Texas. And I also was the head coach for the Team USA 16-year-old team that went down under every Christmas. We went to Australia
Oh,
every
wow.
year, and I won 5 international championships there.
Amen.
And I was blessed to coach some of the most unbelievable athletes. Drew Brees was just one of the greatest, not only one of the greatest athletes, but one of the greatest men that I've ever been around. And when you coach that caliber of player, you realize that the best want to be better, and the better want to be the best. And I've tried to live my life that way in business and also with sports. I mean, I'm 70 years old and I still play men's senior baseball. I play in a 50 and over league here in Colorado Springs, and I still think I'm 25. And
how awesome!
Just stay active and everything else. But about 12 years ago, I've been with Aflac for over 46 years, almost 50 years. And Aflac gave me an opportunity to go to Georgia and be the director of training and recruiting for the state of Georgia. And it was a tremendous opportunity for me. I had gone through a very devastating divorce, and I just packed up and moved. Actually, I didn't move to Atlanta. I moved to Kennesaw, a little community outside of Atlanta. But I just had this great opportunity laid in my lap, and all these expectations and everything. And I was there about 6 months and found out that I had a HPV basal tumor at the base of my tongue that was cancer. Wow. And I'm now a 10-year survivor, but I've never been sick a day in my life. And I was having this continuous sore throat. And it's kind of like what I write in my book, I Chose Live, is that stress is the silent killer and men don't get checked. Now,
exactly right.
I mean, we all know that women are a lot smarter than us anyway, but women are very good about going for an annual physical and having a checkup and mammogram, pap smear, all that kind of stuff. Well, men don't do that. And so I was the same way. I was having this continuous sore throat. Finally went to the doctor and said, "Hey, I've got this sore throat." She checked me out. She said, "Oh, it's probably just a sinus infection. Let me give you some antibiotics." About 6 weeks later, I went back and I said, "Hey, I've still got this sore throat." Now, you got to understand, Jody, I've got a tumor the size of your fist at the base of my tongue.
Oh my God.
And I'm being told that I've got a sinus infection. And so she gives me more antibiotics, which completely destroyed my immune system.
Right.
And July the 4th weekend in 2013, a lymph node popped out on my neck about the size of a golf ball. And I said, well, that's not good. And so I kind of forced my way into the primary, and my ear, nose, and throat doctor in Austin, and one of my closest friends, I coached his son. I sent him a picture, and he knew immediately what was going on. And he said, look, you got to quit screwing around with the primaries and get to see a specialist. I saw the specialist. They took 5 needle biopsies out of my neck. Now, if you've never had a needle biopsy, you ought to try that sometime.
Yeah, no, I don't plan on it.
Yeah. And so, and the doctor said, look, it's probably nothing. Don't worry about it. We'll call you in a couple of weeks. Well, the next morning I get a call and they said, the doctor wants to see you today at 2:00. So I go in and he walks in and he says the 3 words that no one ever wants to hear. And that is, you have cancer. Man. And and I remember him saying, we need to start chemo immediately. I've got you set up for Sunday to start. You'll be in the hospital for a week. You're off for 2 weeks. You're in for another week. And then you have 12 outpatient. And then we'll start radiation immediately. And I remember saying, what do you mean? What's Sunday? He goes, this Sunday. Now, this was a Wednesday.
Right.
And I said, well, what? I can't do that. I mean, I just moved here. I just moved into a condo in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I took a district with Aflac in Georgia, right on the border. I said, that just doesn't work for me at all. I said, so what's option B? And he said, you die. I went, well, let's go back to auction. Let's go to option A here.
I'll see you Sunday.
And so I started the chemo, started radiation, and I guess I was about 3 weeks in. And if anybody out there, and I know there's a lot of folks that have been affected by cancer or been around someone that has had cancer, but it wasn't so much a life or death thing for me as much as it was they didn't know if they could save my vocal cords or not remove my tongue.
Right.
And so as I was going through the treatments, if you go through the chemo, you have good days and then you have some days that aren't so good.
Right.
And I was about 3 weeks in, and I was in this beautiful condo overlooking the Chattanooga River. And I went outside. It was a beautiful day. And I felt something. I looked down, and there's this clump of hair on my arm.
Oh.
And I shook my head, and all of a sudden, I just vigorously massaged my scalp, and every hair on my head came out. And I said, well, that's not a pretty sight. And but the reality hits you that, you know what?
Right.
You're in for a fight.
Yeah.
And I remember going in, sitting down in the easy chair and flipping through the channels a little bit. And I think it was TNT or something, but a movie came on called Shawshank Redemption. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it was a prison movie that, gosh, it's probably 25 years old now.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It set Tim Robbins up as a star, and Morgan Freeman was in the movie. But there was a scene out in the yard where Tim Robbins had only been there about 6 weeks, and he had already been beaten up and abused and raped, and you name it. He was talking to Morgan Freeman, the character Red, who had been there for 40 years. And he said, how can you stand it? I mean, this place is a living hell, and you've been here for 40 years. And Morgan Freeman looked at me. He said, well, life is about choices. You either get busy living or you get busy dying.
Yeah, that's good.
And when he said that, Jody, no joke, I turned off the TV, got up, went over to my desk, and then I wrote my book, I Chose Live, about my battle with cancer and how I'm winning the war. And the one thing that my kids will tell you, that my life changed during that process, because my life is definitely defined today as AC and BC, before cancer and after cancer.
There you go. Yeah.
And but it's like when you go through this journey, you do have choices. And right. I can tell you quite a number of people that, and especially friends of mine, that have said, did you ever think about giving up? Did you ever just think about throwing in the towel? I went from, I needed to lose some weight. I was probably up to about 250 pounds. I was down to 160 pounds. I mean, I could barely drink Ensure or chocolate milk. I mean, things were tough. Right. And, but my answer to that question has always been, and it will always be, no, not a chance. During that time, I tell people I had a 6-month-old grandson that didn't know me, and I had not walked my daughter down the aisle yet. Well, now I got 3 grandsons that probably wish they didn't know me. Okay. And I did walk my daughter down the aisle, and she has blessed me with a beautiful baby girl that's 4 years old now. And, when you have something to live for, when you have something to look forward to, I promise you that I laid very heavy on my faith that God has a plan for me. I need to, my dad, one of my dad's favorite sayings was always, God will make sure that every bird has a worm to eat. He's just not going to drop it in the nest for you. So you've got to do this on your own. You got to get up, you got to get dressed, and you got to get out there. And before my father died, I was in the room. I was the voice of the Westlake Chaparrals for 12 years. I did football, baseball. We had Shap TV. I mean, you have to understand about Austin Westlake. That's almost a religion down there,
Right.
especially when it comes to football. And I put myself in a position where, again, trying to reach people and trying to help people and everything else. But I went and I was leaving my dad's room. He was in assisted care, and I said, well, look, Daddy, I said, I got to go. I got a game. It was a baseball game. I said, I got to go call a baseball game. And I was walking out, and he said, son, make a difference.
Mm.
And that's the last thing he ever said to me. Because
Wow.
a few hours later, I was at the ball game. My daughter came up and said, the assisted living called and Gramps is gone.
Mm.
And I felt like with my dad, I think with him about me making a difference was my coaching, was me working with young people and working with kids.
Right.
But I think now it's about getting the word out, working with people, especially working with men, and getting their women folk to get them to the doctor, to get them to get checked. When you start talking about cancer, and by the way, I've got a couple of free gifts, and one of the free gifts that I'd love for the audience to go and get is Mike's 10 tips on how to prevent cancer.
Oh,
Well,
amen.
with men, prostate cancer and colon cancer are the two main cancers with men. Now, there's no easy cancer, but if you catch those early, you can get through that without a whole lot of what I went through, or what a lot of people go through. And so one of my missions right now is to let people know, number one, stress is the silent killer. And number two, men, please go get checked, because we usually, our death rate is 58% higher than women.
Wow.
And the reason is that we wait until we're full blown stage 3, stage 4 cancer. And then we got 6 months to live.
Yeah. Death on a cracker before you end up going to the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you're convicting me right now, because I'm 54 and I haven't had my prostate exam yet. And it's probably been, gosh, I would say probably 25 years since I've been to the doctor and had a physical. So,
well, I mean, hey, you are my perfect audience, sir. I'll tell you, it's funny.
Yeah.
I'm playing this men's senior baseball. I was in Austin, and I was on third base. And the third baseman, great guy. His name is Jimmy, just a great guy, good ball player. He said, "Hey, Mike, I want you to know I read your book." I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, thank you, Jimmy." He goes, "Well, I decided to go get a colonoscopy." He was 54, 55 years old. He said they found 5 precancerous polyps. And he said, and by doing that, you probably saved my life.
Wow.
And that's what that really is my goal, and my mission is to get the word out as far as where you can take this, what you can do. And it's all about what if.
Right.
It's all about what if.
Right.
And so I really appreciate this platform that you give people, and you're giving me tonight, to be able to spread this word and get the word out.
Well, to be honest, now that you're talking about this is not something that we've even talked about yet on the podcast. Is just men's health. What's crazy that, I know this is a God moment, because back in August, September, God convicted me of my health. I'm relatively healthy. I mean, I'm like you. I don't get sick. I've got great cholesterol. The only thing I've had done is really blood check every so often. And I've got great, all my numbers are great. My blood pressure is great. I've only got 2 cavities. I've only ever had 2 cavities in my mouth. All these things. I don't go to the dentist. I don't go to the doctor. I don't have to, so to speak. But in August, September, I started getting convicted about my health, about the way that I eat. I've got 12-year-old twins, so that I adopted when they were 16 months old. So I've got I've got younger kids. I've got 2 older kids. They're in their 20s. But I want to be there for them. I want to be there for their kids, my grandkids. And I want to get to that place. And so I have started over the last couple of months, just really putting in a plan, trying to get, the exercise in and the eating right, and just the good stuff going. And then I canceled a colonoscopy about 3 weeks ago just because of my schedule, and I've got it rescheduled for a month or so out. It just is amazing trying to get into those places nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
But I appreciate you encouraging men to do that, because it's not something that we do talk about. And you're right, most men just kill over one day. It's either because they do have stage 3 or stage 4 cancer, or they just have a heart attack and just pass out on the floor. So I love what you're talking about here, because it's convicting. And I know my wife went through cancer in 2015. She had breast cancer, and it was stage 2, but it was a very aggressive cancer. So they put her through that red death as well. Just that chemo that takes you to the point of death and brings you back to life, so to speak. And I'll never forget when we actually shaved her head before she started losing it. And so we had a big head shaving party, and everybody got their head shaved. And I just remember seeing her face, and she, at that point, just like what you said, it became real. It became like, okay, there's something going on here. I gotta get serious about this. So again, I thank you for your story, and I thank you for encouraging those men to do something different. So that gift is MikeCoyspeaks.com/gift. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. We'll post that in the chats as well. So everybody,
you get Mike's 10 tips to prevent cancer. And then I also have chapter 8 in my book, I Chose Live, which is a powerful chapter that I picked out just to let people know a little bit about the story and what I feel is so important to do.
So tell me a little bit about your book. Walk us through the book. Like what was the thought process behind that? I've written 4 books, so I understand your process, but let the audience know kind of how it started and how it ended up, and how it's going today.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've written same thing. I've written 4 books. I had, but it's mainly been on the sales side, on the stop the selling insanity, how to build your business through referral marketing. I happen to be a certified professional behavioral analyst, so awesome. I have my own DISC program that I work with a lot of salespeople, realtors, bankers, but with I Chose Live, and again, you can go to ichoselive.com. But I Chose Live was about, again, that statement that Morgan Freeman made in the movie Shawshank Redemption, saying you got a choice. You either get busy living or get busy dying. Well, it's as that great American philosopher Rocky Balboa has said, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how you get up. How do you respond to life throwing you? Of course, with my baseball analogy, there's going to be curveballs all the time, and you got to stay in there, and you got to make an adjustment. You've got to make that choice that I am going to say today is the best day of the rest of my life. There's an opportunity here. I'm going to seize this opportunity. And so with the book, I just got up and I started writing about my life, and I started thinking about how important it was that you've got to let the little things go. I mean, again, when I talk about before cancer and after cancer, I will go to the grocery store now, and I will get in line, and there's going to be somebody in front of me that's got 100 items. I've got 5, right. And they're going to go through the whole process, and then they're going to pull out the checkbook and write a check. I mean, today I just laugh. Right. I get cut off in traffic and I just shake my head. That's not how it was 10 years ago, before cancer. And I just feel like that if you're in Austin, Texas, and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, if you're on Mopac Boulevard, guess what? You're going to have traffic. You're going to be in traffic for an hour, hour and a half.
Right.
So you might as well turn on the music or do something, because you ain't going to get across there very, very fast. And I feel like that has helped me honestly become I hope a better person, a more understanding person, a better husband, and a better father and grandfather, because there's a lot of things that happen in my life today that I kind of blow off or laugh off that I didn't 10, 15 years ago. And so what I tried to get across in the book is that stress is the silent killer. I gave some tips on what you could do, on some things, just some suggestions on how to channel that energy into another way that is much more positive. Second of all, about the men getting checked, is that my message, I've been very fortunate, Jody, over the last probably year and a half of going out and speaking to quite a few diverse audiences, either about I Chose Live, or about my newest book, A Random Act of Kindness. And the thing that I'm able to do is try to address things that we run into every day. And if we can get this out in the open, and if we can talk about it, then we put ourselves in a position to be more understanding. One of the things my dad would always talk about is that it would be nice if we could love one another. Mm-hmm. If we can't do that, how about we just like one another? And if that's too much to ask, how about we just respect one another? Mm. And if we can do one of those three things, I think you look at the diversity in the country, how divided we are on things, and I feel like that if we could get back to understanding that God is got the path, that God has chosen us to be the leaders, either within the church or without the church. I enjoy the church by being a volunteer. I'm part of the prison ministry. I have my own band. I have gone to 3 different prisons and played for the prisoners, trying to reach out, and then to sit down with them and to talk about their story, to pray with them, and to try to let them know, what, there is a different path. There's a different path out there for all of us, but you know what? Life's a choice. And I think I don't know if it's good or bad, but God gave us free will. Yeah. And what we do with that free will is what's going to guide us in our principles and down the path that we want to take. And, the biggest thing I wanted to bring out about the book, I Chose Live, is that there's no cheating cancer, and we all have a choice to make. And again, that's up to you on which path. I can tell you that I end every message, every talk that I give across the country, I tell people that life is about choices, and I hope and pray that each and every one of you will accept the exact same, will take the same choice that I took, and that is I chose live. And I feel like that's the message that I want to get across, not just in the book. Aflac has the Aflac Children's Cancer Center in Atlanta, and I spent several weeks there doing research, finding out more and more about cancer, and coming up with a lot of facts and statistics that I share in the book. And again, it's about awareness, and as well as I do, it's about education. Right. It's about getting the message out and letting people know that again, you have a choice, and you can make some choices on where you want to be and how you want to do it. When I was growing up, I believe my dad never did smoke or drink. Now my mother could outdrink just about anybody. She was quite a character. And but my dad, I was lucky enough to realize when I was about 14, 15 years old that I would not be a very good drinker. I was physical. I was a bigger kid. I was strong. I did fight, and I just thought, you know what? I don't think that's a path I want to go down. And so now, even at my age, I just finished working out before I came on your show. It's something that I try to watch what I eat. I do work out. I do snow ski. I do play that men's senior baseball. There's a great story about that. One of the songs that I sing, I had a charity concert Thursday night here in the Springs, and one of the songs I sing is "Don't Let the Old Man In." Now that's a Toby Keith ballad that was part of a movie called The Mule with Clint Eastwood, and that was a true story. That Korean veteran that ended up being one of the biggest drug dealers or drivers for the Mexican cartel.
Right.
But Toby Keith said he tells the story. He was playing golf in a charity golf classic and Clint Eastwood was his partner. And they were going down the fairway, and he asked Clint, "Well, you got anything going?" And Clint said, "Well, yeah." He said, "I'm leaving for Texas tomorrow. I've got a 6-month shoot of this movie called The Mule." And Toby Keith said, "Man, I don't mean to be rude, but how old are you?" And Clint Eastwood said, "Well, I'm getting ready to be 89. I think now he's 93, but he said, I'm getting ready to be 89. And Toby Keith said, "Well, how do you do it?" And he said, Clint got out, grabbed his club, and as he walked by the cart, he stuck his head in. He said, "I just don't let the old man in." And Toby Keith said that had such an impact on him. He went back to the hotel that night and wrote that song.
That's great.
So when people ask me, how do you do the things that you do? You still work and you have all these activities and all the stuff that you're involved with. I just tell them, I just don't let the old man in.
That's good. That's really good. I love the message that you're trying to get out, especially guys that you're speaking to, because I think a lot of guys, maybe even in your situation, you really, not that you weren't living, but you just didn't really live until you were looking at death in the face. And I think a lot of problems with men is that we keep putting things out in front of us. We go, when I get to this point, then I will do whatever. And then I will do this. And then I will, and we just keep putting that, the carrot out before the horse. And we never, ever get to that place of just truly living. And I'm a pastor of a church as well. And, sometimes when I look out at the audience and I'm just thinking there's so much more to life than everything that you're doing. There's your family. You need to pour into your family. There's your neighbors. You need to pour into your neighbors. You need to be building in the kingdom. You need to be, kingdom minded. You need to be focused. Like, I just keep thinking, man, there's so much more to this life than just a grind of 9 to 5 and hoping you get to your 401k and, all of that kind of stuff. So I love the message that you're going out and saying, just start living, start now. You don't have to wait till you're dying to start living. Now's the time to start living.
Well, I think Steve Jobs, the same thing on his deathbed, that I wish that I would have, enjoyed life more, even though he was a multi-billionaire.
Right.
You're not going to hook up that 401k and all those hours that you're spending at work to that Hearst.
Right. Exactly.
And so I'm in a position that as much as I can live life and spread the word and get out there and be a part of, I hope, something very, very special is what I'm trying to do. And but I think that your path is such a great one, and that's why I feel so blessed to be on your show tonight.
Well, it's all God. I'm not that smart. I can tell you that right now. God has just really blessed me. I mean, I was an atheist at one time. I didn't believe in God, and it wasn't until I had my children, my first 2 kids, that I could tell that they weren't born out of a cesspool of algae. And it kind of just changed my life. I thought, man, if there was a creator of them, there's a creator of me, and I've got to figure out who that is. And that led me to Jesus. And it's been a crazy ride for the last 20. It was 2003, so 21 years. I've been in the faith, and it's all God. It's all God. So we're blessed to have, this platform to be able to share, because, we have 965,000 followers on Facebook. And we want to be able to partner with guys like you, that have a message for our men and the women that are listening. We've got, almost half of our followers are women. They want to hear what it is to man up, what a godly man looks like, and, even what a healthy man looks like. And so, part of our platform this year as well is to kind of push that as well, a kind of a holistic attitude where we're working on the spirit, body, and mind. I think you said it best a while ago when you said stress is the silent killer. And with most men is that we don't share very often. We don't talk about our issues. And in Christianity, as a pastor, men don't share their sins. They don't share their fears. They don't share their worries. And so that builds up as stress. And,
Yes,
I've always said this, men have 5 major problems. It's sex, wives, money, kids, and work. And then this overarching problem is pride. And, if men were to talk about those things, because the reason that pride kicks in is because they think they're the only ones going through it. Oh, nobody's going to understand my sex problem or my money problem or my work problem. Or, when sitting right next to them, most likely is a guy who's either gone through it, figured it out, could help you transition, whatever that looks like, and take a lot of load off. That's what men are meant to be for each other. We're to be there to be accountable. God made us stronger physically and mentally for a lot of reasons. And to be able to handle other people's issues is part of that. And I think we don't do a really good job with that at all. And so I like that message that you're sending, that stress. You see men all the time, doing the grind of 9 to 5 and even longer than that nowadays, just trying to, make ends meet. And then they get home, they've got a wife that's unhappy, and they've got kids screaming and yelling at them. And that stress just builds up. And I know through getting to know Jesus Christ, through the power of the Holy Spirit in his word, you can learn to have the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. There's no stress in that. If you think about it, there's no stress in that love and joy and peace and patience and kindness, like that comes from the power of the Holy Spirit. And we need to lean into that more and more. As we look at our health, the Paul tells the Corinthians, your body's a temple, and you need to treat it as so, not only just spiritually, but physically as well. And we need to do a better job of that. So I really appreciate your message. And if you don't mind, how old are you again? You said
I'm 70. I'm
70.
70
Okay.
years old.
Praise God, brother. I love that you're, and I think a lot of men, in Christianity, there is no retirement. There shouldn't be any retirement.
Right.
You need to get out there and you need to, and I know that you're raising money for cancer research, and you're encouraging these men to get to the hospitals and doctors and physicals and all of that kind of stuff. And that's great stuff. That is great stuff. And our men need to hear more of that. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, the part I always give a percentage of the net proceeds of any of my book sales to the Aflac Children's Cancer Center in Atlanta. I mean, the death rate used to be in the 40-50% range, and now it's like 85% are well and doing better. But there's still that 10, 12, 15% out there that we've got to we've got to do something about. And but there again is that with men and especially in our age group and stuff like this, prevention is the key. And I feel like, and you've seen this as much as I have, Jody, is that again, it comes back down to choices where you put yourself, you go into a bottle, you smoke, you drink, you do things to try to numb some of the realities of life and this kind of thing. And it's just not a healthy choice.
Right.
And so there again if anything that I can do to help a man, but again, the women are the driving force on this, because they're the ones that have to get their whatever, their husband, their brother, their father, their neighbor, to go see a doctor, to do something. And that's why it's that joint effort on for us to be healthier and live a what I would hope a more godly life than a lot of times we choose not to.
That's good. That's really good. That's great encouragement too, because like with what you said, a lot of times women, are the catalyst for a lot of men going to church as well, because they want to go to church, they want to be there with their family, they want their man to go. But if men understood the power of them actually going to church, or them being the leader of their home, being the spiritual leader of their home, and making sure that they are staying healthy, that they can protect their family, both financially and physically and spiritually, that they become the leader, the spiritual leader, the servant leader in their home. I tell you what, their wives would, oh my goodness, their houses and the homes would be completely different than what they are today. And I think we need to continue to encourage men to do that more and more often, for sure. That's a really good message. So tell me a little bit about your book, Random Act of Kindness.
Well, yeah, that book was when my wife and I moved to Colorado Springs. My wife has early onset of MS, and the heat was just eating her up in Austin. And she said, "You need to find another place." Aflac gave me a great opportunity in Colorado Springs, just a beautiful, beautiful area. And we moved here, and about 4 months in, COVID hits. So sitting around staring at the wall, and I started thinking about a short story that I had read, God, 20, 25 years ago, with the Chicken Soup for the Soul series.
Right.
And there was a story, very, very, a true story, called A Simple Gesture by John Slatter. And I started thinking about that story, and I decided to take that story and just embellish the heck out of it, make it my own. And but it's about the friendship between the ultimate jock and the ultimate nerd, and how their lives intertwined, and how they both ended up not only reaching the heights that they wanted to reach, but to have a friendship that no one ever saw when they were when they actually came to know each other in the 7th grade. And it's really about seeing someone that you feel like that you can help, you step in, and that you've never met before, you don't know. And the whole premise behind the book is that you never ever really know when. You never ever really know when something you do, something you say could maybe change somebody's life, or in some cases save someone's life. And I think that a lot of times, and we talk about this when you talked earlier, Jody, about family, is that I'll promise everybody out there that it's not so much what you say to your kids specifically, but how you show them, how they see you live your life.
Right. Exactly.
That's going to be the impact.
Yep.
And I think that I honestly believe that the total disillusion of the family structure in our country has hurt us more than anything else. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you might be divorced or something. You can still be a father. You know, I mean, you can still be the person that you need to be in your kids' lives. And this is what I feel like, how so many things that we do, and it can be a random act of kindness. And I think that you can take it a step further about pay it forward.
Mm.
Uh,
Amen.
that if you can do something for somebody, and it can be simple, it doesn't have to be anything that's extravagant or expensive or anything like that. But if you can pay it forward, the impact that can make on somebody's life that is going through something that you have no idea they're going through, but yet the words that you speak, the way that you treat them. I mean, for me, that's what a man's man is.
Right.
How does a man treat other people? How does
Right.
a man give back to their community? How does a man, what kind of husband is he? What kind of father is he? I mean, like I said, I've been so blessed to coach some of the greatest athletes that you can imagine. And a lot of them, you know their names, but I don't really care about what they've done on the football field or the baseball field, or they won a Super Bowl or anything else. What kind of man are they? And I am most proud of so many of these young men that I had the blessing to coach, have turned out to be such great community leaders, have been such great husbands and fathers. And that means more to me than any touchdown pass they threw or any home run they ever hit for me.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's the character in the man. That's what you want to see. You know, you don't care about their accolades, you don't care about their success. You just want to see the character in there. I mean, there's a lot of successful people out there, both in the financial world, the business world, and even in the sports world, that just don't have good character. Even in Christianity, the same thing. Even in the church world, there's still guys that just don't have good character. But that's exactly what we want to see. Well, brother, that's a great, well, I can't wait to read the book. Looking forward to getting my hands on that. So what do you have coming up in 2024? What's your goals? What's your plans? What is God laying on you right now?
I really felt like that I was very blessed to meet, and this was a referral on Command Your Brand, to be able to meet my publicist and take that step forward to allow me to be on a podcast and with someone as special as you, to be able to spread the word, get it out there, let people know that that they have a place they can go to. I mean, they can go to ichoselive.com and find out more than they want to know about me, and but also have access to I Chose Live and a random act of kindness. But I would really ask them that they can go to the MikeCoyspeaks.com/gift, and that's free, just to be able to give them kind of a path that they can go down. And so right now I'm doing a lot of public speaking. I've got I'm going to be the keynote speaker for 3 chamber of commerces here in the Colorado Springs area coming up. And the publisher of North Magazine said, I want you to tell the story of a random act of kindness. For some reason, he got a hold of the book, and it had a tremendous impact on him.
Wow.
And he said, we're going to have somewhere around 250, 300 people that you have a captive audience of going. But I went to an Aflac kickoff meeting a few weeks ago in Atlanta, and there were 350, 400 agents there. And you know as well as I do, Jody, that whenever you give a talk, you give a message, and when you have someone, in this case, a handful of people come up and just shake your hand and give you a hug and say, you've changed my life.
Right.
And that's I think with my dad, his last words to me was, son, make a difference. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm really focused on 2024 to make that happen.
Amen. Amen. Well, that is awesome. Well, I'll have to check you out. How far are you from Denver?
Oh, we're just down the road. I mean, just
Okay.
right up I-25. I mean, we're an hour away. I mean, it's nice to The one thing about Denver is that you can go to the airport because you got a lot of direct flights out of Denver where you don't out of California, out of Colorado Springs.
Right.
But, there's all kinds of concerts and comedy clubs and things like this that are part of Denver that Colorado Springs is starting to pick up on. Colorado Springs is still a large military town with the Air Force Academy is here. And there's just a lot of military here, but Denver's just right up the road. We go quite a bit.
I'm speaking there at the end of March, so I was trying to figure out maybe we could hook up somehow.
Well, please send me those dates and we'll make it happen.
Okay. Yeah, I'm speaking at a church there for a men's retreat at the end of March. So I'll have to send
well, I'm going to take you to Papa Dough Restaurant.
I've already been to Papa. Is it the pizza place?
No, this is the Cajun place.
Oh, the Cajun.
Papa Deux. I mean Papa Dough.
Okay. Papa Dough.
It is one of my closest friends in Houston started the chain. Papacitas is the Mexican food. Papa Dough is the Cajun food. But I will take you to Papa Dough's in Denver, and we'll have a great treat.
Well, I'll take you up on that because my sons and I, for a little while, I think it was 4 years in a row, we went and we camped at top of some 14ers there in Colorado, and so we went to Mount Evans. Is that right?
Mount Evans.
Mount Evans.
Going to Pikes Peak. That's
Pikes Peak. Yeah, I did that. Springs. Yeah, and then my son just went to. He takes photographs, and he just went to the Pikes Peak race. I've got a real good buddy of mine. He's actually going to be on the podcast. He's the fastest pastor. He actually raced in a car up Pikes Peak. So, but yeah, we went to this place called Joe's Pizza or Joe something's Pizza. I can't remember. It's up north of Denver. But they sold pizza by the pound. It was a 3-pound or a 5-pound pizza. So after spending a week up in the mountains, eating canned food and dry food, coming down the mountain and eating that is pretty awesome. But I'll have to give you some information there. Well, I tell you what, tell everybody where they can see you. Share your website, share your Facebook or any social media that you're on, and let everybody know. We'll also place this in the comments too as well for everybody.
ichoselive.com. ichoselive.com. And that's where you can pick up the book, I Chose Live, and also a random act of kindness. You can go to MikeCoyspeaks.com/gift for the 2 free gifts. And, I just feel like that any questions, you can reach me. My email, mike@MikeCoyspeaks.com. That's all on the ichoselive.com website. And but feel free to reach out. I have mentored many people that have gone through cancer or going through cancer. I just feel like that's a shared community that you're a part of, and you're going to be a part of for the rest of your life. And I just, again, going into the insurance business and everything that I've done, it's all about helping people. Amen. And the more people I can help, then I think that I can live my father's last words to me, and that's make a difference.
Well, brother, I think you are. And I really appreciate your message and your openness about your story. It's very just exciting to see that, man, you're still kicking, you're still moving and grooving, and that you still care and you want other people to live as well. So I appreciate that. Folks, if you get an opportunity, please go to Mike Coy's website at ichoselive.com, and you can see all of his books and his messages, and he has some YouTube videos on there as well. So check those out and make sure that you support him as much as possible. Also, make sure you go to the free gift. It is in the links, is in the comments as well. You'll be able to see that, and you'll be able to get 10 ways to stop cancer. Is that correct?
Prevent cancer.
Okay.
And then I highlighted chapter 8 in the book.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, guys, make sure you get that free gift. We would love for you to go there. So make sure that you check us out next week, and we will have a new guest, and hopefully our host will be back. Co-host Ben Neely and Fregosa will be back in the studios, and we will see you guys later. God bless.
You've been listening to the Man Up God's Way podcast. Visit us on Facebook, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and our website at manupgodsway.org.